Hello everyone, it's Matt here and welcome to a video about a signal box. What at least is supposed to be a signal box. So some people may recognise the sort of Southern Railway colour scheme as being something that's very clear cut and very modern. This signal box is actually based off a model based at Horsted Keynes, I believe it is. And actually photos of the model were used in the LDD version, which you'll edit in post-production. But effectively the model in this state has been broken down to about 5 assemblies. So you have your main base, which would actually be the machine room or the switchgear room, or it goes by a couple of things, or the plant room. But effectively all the physical interlocking would actually be in this room, which would actually control all the turnouts and the semaphores, or level crossings or anything else like that. That'd all be in here. So this actually has a side door there, along with 2 fire buckets. You've then got 2 windows here for light, with a third on the opposite end. There isn't actually anything on the back side except for some alternate coloured bricks. And the one interesting point of noting is that the only piece which is not red or green or tan or white as a primary colour, except for the detailing work in the actual structure, is here, which is actually a sand red. So it's just an odd brick. And there is a little bit of detailing, so the windowsills here are white. You have this tan here for the sort of bridging stone above the window, and that's across all 3. You also got the black metal beam here, which supports the rest of the structure, because obviously all your lever controls and everything else would be coming out of this section. So a little bit of sand red just to break it up. So in terms of actual build, this is very basic. This is just literally a 1x2 plate and tile frame. So there's some tiles mixed in with some plates along sideways and bits. The underside of where they have the actual slight half offset, or is actually just due to a combination of tiles and jumpers. So you do have some 1x1 tiles in here, some 1x1 plates, and some 1x2 jumpers. In red and dark red, just for a bit of variety, and they are actually the top line of bricks here, so that if I take this one off, for example, you can see that that's actually a 1x1 plate, and next to it is a 1x1 tile, another 1x1 plate, and that's easily effectively to get this nice half a stud offset all around. Unfortunately, there are a couple of problems with that. So where you have a normal pattern like here, for example, the pattern doesn't quite line up. So obviously where the door is and where the chimney breast is, it doesn't actually tie in with the rest of the detailing here, but that's okay in my mind. It's nothing too major, and it's something you'd possibly expect anyway. Now, when building the model, I've obviously got the base in, it's actually in the main bits. There's actually a couple of things. So obviously we have our access here. So this actually just fits on here, like so. And the point to note about the signal box stairs here to get access to the actual main cabin is that the handrail here is actually in tan. On the real signal box, this is actually in green, so it's actually matched the rest of the decoration for the actual access. The problem being is that green, although it's buildable in this colour, you've got tile clips here which are available in green. I've actually got enough to actually do that, but the 1x2 plate here, which is modified with the bar, is not available in green. These clips that hold it in at the top aren't available in green, and it's just one of those, this isn't available, that's not available, blah 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 blah. So now that I've got the stairs on, the next step is actually the main base of the model. So this literally just sits on like that, and instantly the model has kind of gained a signal box aesthetic just from doing this. So I'll actually put this off to one side now, because we're actually finished with it for now. I'll actually talk about the interior. The interior actually has a couple of party pieces to it, if you like, and it's very well detailed. There is a little bit of flooring missing just underneath the desk there you can actually see some plates. I'll add a tile there. But you actually have the levers here. Now the levers, I've randomised the levers, but they're based on standard prototypes. So you have some whites, which I think are spares. You have your yellows and reds, which I think are for signals. Yeah, some black for pointing, for turnouts. I think the blues are facing point lock. So there's a mixture of signals and semaphores, well, signals / semaphores and turnouts here to create a bit of variety. And obviously there is no completion for a signal box without the archetypal kettle. So there's a little teapot down here which is brewing next to the fireplace along with a cup, and then in the corner out of the way is the fresh gold top pint of milk. And then you've also got the desk here which has some paperwork on it. This actually is a Harry Potter tile and a Lego movie assembly instruction tile. Couldn't find anything in my collection which is more appropriate. You actually have a custom printed 2x2 clock tile here. I can't think who printed that. I picked it up at a show many years ago, and I think it's actually still available. I think it might have been Firestar or something. And it looks a nice tile. It's got nice Roman numerals on it. It's got a nice decoration to it. And there's a few other bits and pieces. So you've got a newspaper here, a little chair there, and some extra wood for the fire. The fire itself doesn't actually have any flames in it, or any representation of flames. That it might be something you can just add in with a clip. But as far as I'm concerned, you're not actually going to get too close into actually viewing the fire, especially with the signalman being in the way here, who's actually very concerned and looking out over his domain. Then obviously you've got all the other details. He wouldn't actually see the fire that well anyway. But there is a party piece with this. So if I take the signalman back out, this assembly here for the chimney pots actually slides down, and inside there's actually a Lego light brick mounted snotways. It's actually not actually fixed inside the chimney. It's just literally just held in by friction and I think there's a tile or something which actually juts out slightly, and then that just literally holds it in. And then the trigger is actually a piece of flex tube which actually fits into these bricks here, and then also into the trigger point in the light brick. So literally you push the chimney down and it lights up the actual fireplace, which I think is quite a neat little feature. And it's something I'll copy when I do the LNER version of the signal box. So we can actually add this in. You also may notice that the rear wall here is actually part of the assembly, and that's because building this section to fit in with the signal box is actually hard to do. So if I had put it in the main signal box, it's actually rather fragile. So putting it in here keeps it all nice together, and then this can literally just slot in just like that. And this is a very tight fit in here, so you'll have to be careful. But when you fit it in, it slots in like that, clips in here at the side, and then just literally clips in at the top. And it's actually held in purely by friction, partly by this back wall, and then it's actually resting on this outer line here. And then as a final piece, the roof, this is actually the inverse. You can actually see that's what the inverse looks like. The 1x6 brick here and the 1x2 plate here, literally just to hold it in. And then all you do is, where you have your signal box, slide that back and plop in, just like that. And that's effectively it for reassembly. So in terms of the actual structure, there's nothing too major. In terms of changes to the model, you can actually tell on the side here, and this door comes out. That's actually one of the problems, because it's not actually holding at the bottom. But never mind, when it's on display, nobody will know. There's actually a bit of a difference here, and you can actually sort of see the green from the handrail goes, and then there's actually a gap between the layer on the signal box. And you might be wondering to yourself, well, why is that? And the easiest answer is that this line here was actually the original line for this difference between the main bottom third, if you like, the windows, and then you got this top third that's into unequal thirds. The problem being is that if I'd left this original green line here, and then you had the windows on top, you could actually see quite a lot of the levers in the window. And if anyone worth their salt is actually building a signal box model, you'll know that if you're looking into a signal box, the levers are barely sticking up above the bottom of the window, because obviously you need as much view as possible of the trains and everything else that's passing by the signal box. So I've had to raise up the windows by 2 plates. So that's why there's a little gap here, because effectively one layer for the actual where the green was, another layer as padding, and then we've moved the layer up again. That has had a few benefits. So it's actually slightly taller now, it's slightly more elevated. You get a slightly better view. It doesn't actually change the aesthetic too much of the signal box, but it does actually look a bit more spaced out here now. So although it's a bit more lofty at the top, it does actually suit the signal box in my opinion. And yeah, that's literally it. You can literally just put the roof on and away you go. And then if you ever want to entertain your guests, on comes the light. Now obviously with the empty base here, lights could be fitted, lights could be quite easily fitted, and then obviously you've got space on the roof for them to be fitted. The alternative I would say is that if you want to fit lights to this, you'd effectively possibly fit a lighting kit from say light hailing or something else, where you've actually just got a plate or something across here, and you just have the lights on there, and then you can stick a cell battery or something inside the little hole in the roof, and then obviously that's all roof maintained, and you can just take off the roof as you need to. So that's it for the signal box. There are a couple of things missing, or things that could do with being updated on this, but overall I'd personally say it's a nice complete model. The biggest thing people might notice is the lack of naming. So there was no junction name, or North Brick or something like that. That is one of the problems with the roof. So the bottom line is actually fixed in. So there's no junction name either here or here. But not all signal boxes actually had that. Maybe it's undergoing change. You never know. So yeah, that's the signal box. There's nothing really too major missing at the back. But again, that nice lining is continued onto the back, and you've got everything else. So yeah, that's it for this overview of the signal box. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've got any questions about it, please let me know. And this signal box, in terms of its future, it's actually going off to the southern portion of LSUR, so the southern, what is it? I know it's the Lego Southern United Railway, I think it is, rather than the LSUR, so Lego Northern UK Railway. So this will be going off. You can actually probably see this in a show coming soon. It's actually going on member Tim's section. So Tim will have this lovely MBR work signal box on there. And as I've alluded to previously and mentioned previously, I'll actually be building one of these in LSUR colours. So dark red base. I'm not going to bother with might add 1 or 2 red plates in, but largely it'll be just dark red. And then white and blue replacing the green and cream. So it'll not be all this nice blue framing, and then white in the middle. I'm not sure about the windows. I'll probably keep them white, which might look a bit odd, but we'll find out. So anyway, that's it for this model review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon.